Hello everyone, Prime here, and I hope that you're having a great day, because today we'll be covering your favorite god of portals and transitions, his purpose, relationships, story, and some other stuff for good measure. Oh, and one more thing before we get into this. You might hear some birds in the background. I do apologize for this. I wasn't exactly going to run into my garden with a shotgun and shoot at some trees until they decide to stop singing, so yeah. As the god of beginnings, transitions, gates, doorways, archways, endings, and time in Roman mythology, Janus is a chap with two faces, one young and handsome, the other being a bearded and older gentleman, and each face is positioned opposite to one another. This can be referred to as Janus Geminus, twin Janus, or Bifrons. One face is said to look toward the past, whilst the other, the future. In some areas of Roman worship, Janus was revered as a god with four faces, Janus Quadrifrons, the four-faced. Now for the images and statues that I have found of Janus, he appears to be just as human-looking as, say, Zeus or Apollo or Athena, but considering Hyras's take on his appearance, which I really like by the way, what with him being the Roman god of time and all, it would be interesting to see if they would be willing to give the old Jandroid a human look, or skin. I'm sure Hyras had their reasons for making Janus a badass robot with portals, but come on Janus, I'm sure you'd look badass with, you know, the whole human thing going on. Fine, put the portal down, I'll stop talking of this and move on. Sorry if I offended you. Unlike a lot of gods in Roman and Greek mythology, Janus specifically is a Roman god and not Greek, which is a bit sad. But Janus is considered to be quite an important god indeed. Some of his exact functions are a bit ambiguous, but in today's age, Janus is believed to have been a sort of watcher over beings and transitions, be they physical or abstract. He is linked to movement, and as a god of motion, he is responsible for starting actions. He is indeed the mechanism that allows the beginnings of any type of thing in existence. His two faces represent his importance in his roles, in movement and change. As you might imagine, beginnings are quite synonymous with Janus. He was indeed around before the existence of the entire universe. He was there when life began, and he was also considered to be a guardian of heaven. He even presided over religion's very creation and even the creations of the gods himself. Some people seem to have the idea that he was fathered by Apollo, and this is simply not the case. But because he had so many responsibilities and connections to all manner of things, the Romans had to invoke him before any other god, whether they wanted to pray to the gods, Venus specifically for a successful marriage, or Minerva for wisdom. Janus' work allowed Jupiter, Roman god of the sky, majorly important to the Roman religion, better known as Zeus, to, well, function. So yeah, pretty important chap, Janus, even if you really don't get that sense from his Smite character, which we all love. Saturn, better known as Cronus, was the king of the gods, but one day heard of a tale that saw his demise at the hands of one of his own children. Not liking this one bit, Cronus decided to jump away on Ceres, Veritas, Pluto, Neptune, June, and Vesta. Rhea, his wife, didn't take too kindly to the idea of having her babies turned into meals just after they were born, and so hid one of the children, instead feeding Papa Saturn with a stone, which he chomped down on all the same. When this child, Jupiter, returned, he promptly gave Saturn an L, making the former king flee to Latium for his life. He made friends with Janus, introducing agriculture and ushering in a period of peace. The Golden Age, if you will, which again Saturn ruled, with Janus. During this time, all human beings were equal, with no distinctions of any kind made between classes. Of course, in Greek mythology, Cronus might not have necessarily joined anyone in ruling anything, because, you know, he was kind of usurped, but Roman mythology has its differences with Greek mythology, so that's a thing. Janus pretty much always being first you could say is in a way linked to Vesta, the goddess of hearth, the home, and domestic life. She's typically the last god mentioned in a prayer, so there's that. Janus had a few children with his wife, Camasene, I'm sure one of you in the comments section will probably know this name and inform me, because I've heard about 7, 8 plus different versions of Janus's wife's name, and at this point I have no idea what the true spelling and pronunciation of her name is, so yeah. One of their sons, however, was Tiberinus, who had a river named after him, which is pretty cool, and he's widely considered to be one of the most well-known and best sons of Janus, in that regard at least. But in some tales, Janus is said to have an extra eye, which allowed him to catch the elusive Carna, or crane. Again, the spelling on this one, Anyways, who was famous for teasing her parents with certain advances before fleeing into the air. Janus had a son with her who became the king of a small city, Alba Longa. So it's story time now, and Janus, being one of the most important gods in Roman mythology, had to rule something, right? And he did so alongside a king of Rome, Camasene. He was for some reason exiled, but entered Rome with his wife. Again, it's Camasene, he entered the city with his wife and children. After his wife died, Janus became the kingdom's sole ruler. It did not take Janus long to build a city for himself, which he called Janiculum, and he ruled Latitum after the death of Camasene for many years in peace. With Saturn, the humans that basked in the glory of this golden age never aged. Janus, whilst he was alive, was never once defied by his people. However, upon his death, he was. In another myth, Romulus of Rome, who named the city after himself, kidnapped Sabine virgins, and Rome was attacked. The daughter of one of these gods betrayed her countrymen by guiding the attackers into the city. They were about to do some climbing up and over the city wall when a hot spring suddenly erupted, scalding the aggressors with boiling water and volcanic ashes. Now, some did avoid this horrible pain, but let's just say most didn't. This, of course, was the work of none other than Janus, and because of this, the doors of his temple were left open always come times of war, which is why it's nice that Hi-Rez included this line when Janus loads into any given game. Come times of... Okay, I'm not going to do a Janus impression, I'm sorry.
While there is war, my doors are always open.
Now we're going to go on to the last section, which is typically always the shortest, and that's the facts section. So, first up, did you know that Janus indeed joined the side of the Titans during the Titan and God conflict? Also, Janus introduced money and laws into his city of Janiculum. The name of this city actually means City of Janus. It's probably pronounced Janiculum, I suppose, but Janiculum. I suppose you guys get what I'm talking about. January is named after Janus, and the 9th is a special day for him. During the times of peace, Janus' temple doors were always closed, though those times came around rarely. And with that, we've reached the end of the video. I hope that you enjoyed, or at the very least learned something. If you did, go ahead and leave a good old like on the like button, and tell me in the comment section below what you thought of the video, and whether you'd like to see a human skin or not for Janus. You think that looked weird, or just flat out no. Be interesting to see that in the comment section below. If you want me to cover a specific god, go ahead and leave a request in the comment section below. The next god's going to be a guardian for sure, and that will either be Sylvanus or Geb, hopefully on Friday. Until the next video though, have a very good day. I've been Prime, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in a few. Bye bye.